You know that feeling when you're alone in a dark room, sensing something right behind you, watching your every move. That kind of fear that makes your skin crawl and your feet hurry toward the nearest lit room, slamming the door just to feel a little safer. That's how it felt in the Hawthorne house, always. Even with windows locked and lights on, shadows clung to the corners, and the silence hummed with things I couldn't see, but could feel. It was late October 1955, and my family had just moved to the edge of Salem. Father, mother, my older sister Eleanor, and I, 9 and still afraid of the dark, were unpacking boxes in the old, long-abandoned house. Eleanor bounced from room to room, joking about ghosts, but even her laughter sounded small in the hollow air. Each night, the moon grew fuller, counting down to Halloween. That first night, just after midnight, faint scratching woke me, like nails on wood. I thought maybe it was a mouse, until a low, tuneless humming reached my ears. Eleanor's voice. Her door was cracked, candlelight spilling into the hall. I slowly crept closer. The humming formed words I couldn't understand, slow and rhythmic, like a prayer turned inside out. She sat cross-legged, tracing circles on the floor. I whispered her name. She stopped. Her body moved swiftly, eyes wide and glassy. Without a word, she crossed the room, blew out the candle, and climbed into bed. By the time I dared to move, she pretended to sleep. That next morning, at breakfast, I fidgeted with my spoon. I don't like this house. It feels like someone's watching. Father forced a smile. It's just old. By Halloween, it'll feel like home. He glanced at Eleanor's bandaged fingers. She said it was from playing guitar, tapping lightly against her cup. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Mother's tone was calm but uneasy. This morning, I swore someone was standing behind me, breathing on my neck. I turned and nothing, but it felt so real. Eleanor stared out the window, pretending nothing had happened, but I knew she felt it too. Later that night, after being tucked into bed, I woke up again, just after midnight. The room shivered with an unseen presence. I turned toward the closet, heard a click. The door creaked open. A dark shape slipped out, taller than any person I'd seen, fingers unnaturally long. I couldn't breathe as it glided closer. I tried to scream, but no sound came. Suddenly, hands gripped my shoulders, yanking me back into bed. I struggled, kicking and flailing until a voice broke through. Steady, calm. Shh. It's okay, Eleanor whispered. I blinked and the figure was gone. It's just a nightmare, she murmured. Father and mother rushed in. I pointed toward the closet. It was there. Eleanor stood quickly. Just a nightmare, she said again. But my wrists were red and blistered like burns. Mother touched the marks, pale with fear. I knew then. It wasn't my imagination. The next afternoon, Mother hummed softly as she folded towels. The sun was pale through the windows, the kind of quiet that almost made the house feel normal. Until a voice whispered her name.
Margaret.
She froze. Nothing. Just the hum of the washer. She shook it off and kept folding. But again.
Margaret.
Closer this time. Low, drawn out, almost affectionate, but not human. She stepped into the hall, calling for Father, for Eleanor. No answer. The voice drifted again. From the living room, she followed. The air thickened. Then she saw it. A black, wispy figure curling like smoke underwater. From within came whispers stacked on whispers, muted cries like a crowd screaming through cloth. It drifted back, wailing, before sliding into the wall. Mother stumbled, bumping a counter. A mug shattered. When Father and I found her, she was shaking, pale as the sheets she'd been folding. "We're getting a priest," she said. "Now." That evening, we walked to the church. The priest listened, then agreed to come. Back home, he moved through the rooms with calm precision, holy water in one hand, prayer book in the other, whispering Latin, tracing crosses on walls. The house stayed quiet, as if holding its breath. Sometimes I thought something brushed past, but the priest's voice never faltered. Afterward, he packed up. "I've done what I can," he said. "For now, it should be enough." For the first time in days, the air felt still. That night, no whispers, no creepy figures in the closet. Maybe it had worked. Halloween morning came bright and quiet. Mother hummed while cleaning, Father fixed a light, and Eleanor and I hung the last decorations. Then the doorbell rang. An old woman stood on the porch, gray hair pulled tight beneath a faded scarf, eyes sharp and pale. "Forgive me," she said softly. "You're in danger." Mother hesitated, but invited her in. Over tea, the woman said, "The things you spoke of, the voices, the shadows, they're bound to this night. A full moon on Halloween. The barrier between here and there is thin." Mother set her cup down slowly. "Then we should leave. We can stay at the inn." The woman shook her head. "No, that will only make it worse. If you flee, it will follow. You must confront it here, dispel it. Otherwise, it will take hold of your family." Father sighed. "With respect, ma'am, a priest blessed every room yesterday. The house has been peaceful since." Her gaze cut through him. "That's what it wants you to think. Evil deceives." A heavy silence filled the room. The air grew cool around us. She stood. "I can protect you, for tonight at least." After a tense silence, noticing Mother's desperation, Father nodded. "If it will help." The daylight moved swiftly, and the night fell fast. Candlelight flickered across the living room. The old woman, our witch, as we dared to ask, set down her bag. You're a witch?" Mother asked. "I practice Wicca," she said calmly. "Older than most churches, older than this town. We work with energy, symbols, and the unseen. Tonight, I bind the darkness to protect you." She drew odd symbols with chalk and salt, tracing intricate patterns around the room. A small dagger, an athame, she called it, worn but gleaming, moved like a wand in her hands. Eleanor and I watched, wide-eyed. The living room transformed into something sacred and strange. The wind howled outside. Inside, the witch's voice rose over it all, chanting, calling on the old ways. At first, the house stirred with small signs, books tumbling, chairs sliding. Then it exploded. Lamps shattered. Curtains whipped through the air. Objects flew like stones. The witch's eyes widened. "It's stronger than I imagined. A powerful demon." From the ceiling, black ooze streamed down, thick, tar-like, smoking as it pooled along the walls. We stepped back, hearts hammering. "By the craft, by the old ways, I bind you. "You shall not touch them," she shouted. The ooze surged. Eleanor screamed as it lashed at her legs. I lunged forward, grabbing her arm, while Father yanked at her other side. Together, we pulled her free just as the sticky black mass recoiled. Windows then rattled, slammed, and shattered. "Get to the door," Father yelled. The handle burned his hand. The ooze crept closer. Pieces of ceiling fell around us. With one kick, Father forced the door open. We scrambled into the night, coughing on acrid smoke. The witch stayed behind, dagger raised. We called for her to get out. She shouted, "I need to defeat this one." The ground beneath the Hawthorne house trembled, cracking and splitting. Walls crumbled into a hellish pit of fire and molten stone. The black ooze hissed, consumed. The house disappeared. Only a massive, burning scar remained where it once lay. We stood in the moonlight, exhausted, terrified. The Hawthorne house was gone. Only memory and the scar it left on the earth remained. The witch was gone too, swallowed along with the house, leaving nothing behind but the faint echo of her final, desperate battle.